Yeah.
Awesome.
Doesn't matter. I
Hey,
was
everybody.
like,
Keep going. We should just start mid conversation. Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
Hi, everybody. We were just finishing up on, we're talking about college admissions and how crazy it's gotten.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder what's going to be like when like my kids are going to college. I mean,
Will they go to college?
I don't know. Yeah, it's true. Maybe we have an AI humanoid robot that teaches
Yeah.
them.
I mean, so many things won't happen. Like my friend has a toddler. He was talking about, oh, when she grows up, blah. I'm not, she probably won't even learn to drive. We might be one of the last people who will learn to drive. So that's like a thing that you do as when you're 16, you get a license or whatever, right? That's like, oh, you don't do that. They're not going to do that anymore. So
Right.
I don't know. I think they
Americans
still will. I
60
think they
years.
still will. I think it's like it'll go the way of hunting, where it's
Yeah,
like
or horse
initially-
riding. Like
or
you
horse
go.
riding.
I think you'll go on tracks and stuff. Like you can't ride a horse down the street. You go to special places where there are stables, and you get a membership. And I think that'll be with cars. People are like, oh yeah,
But in certain
driving. Back in the
neighborhoods,
day, they used to drive cars. Let's do it.
like if you're in Montana, right? Like people are taking horses to like the bar in certain towns. So like, well, what if LA is just permanently like car culture? Like we're driving our cars.
The one
in
city
LA.
that self-driving couldn't crack is just too many assholes on the street.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I remember like when I was visiting Madrid a while ago, there were some places where you can't drive down. Like Market Street here in San Francisco is also closed, but it was only for taxis and like Ubers and stuff. So I wonder if more streets become like that, where it's, hey, this is only for ride sharing, but like in your personal neighborhoods or whatever, you can drive, and I don't know, congestion stuff.
That market change was crazy because not only did they close off Market, but they also made a bunch of streets like randomly one way. So like to figure out, like if you were going just like 2 blocks in one direction, you could spend, like 6 minutes trying to like carve your way around to get there. It just like, I wonder if that was by design. Let's make it so frustrating that like people just won't drive down there because it'll just be too hard to figure out.
Oh yeah.
Right, totally.
It's just like, it's crazy what's coming down. Like, I mean, when you like really go down that rabbit hole, so many things just fall apart. Like even just like as if you just extrapolate VR, I think one of the things that'll happen is, this is one of my woo-woo predictions, like we won't really have downtowns and stuff, because the reason we have downtowns is because we need density is important to us. Why is it important? Because there's something about in real life IRL experiences, and there's something about moving to SF, right? You go there, you bump into someone, at a coffee shop, whatever, you have the conversation. But once VR can replicate life mostly, I think you'll just have a bunch of or like, you'll be like, well, why would I leave my 5-bedroom nice house? And like the 5-bedroom, $100,000 house in the middle of nowhere, is like suddenly becomes easy because you're like, well, I'm basically in New York in mentally 18 hours a day anyway. So why would I pay New York prices and stuff? So I think COVID kind of like showed us a glimpse. That was a forcing function because people had to like do it. So they went back to their parents' house or whatever. And so it's just interesting to see, once we have that, what happens. And it might
But
be
the flip side is the place that bounced back fastest from COVID was New York.
Yeah,
And,
because why did that happen? Because people were just pent up and they just frustrating inside, and the experience we have right now through the internet, like talking to you guys, as cool as it is from a camera, is not as good as sitting down with you guys. So that's the assumption. But once that goes away, and I think it does go away, then it's like, well, why would I take a 3 hour?
I don't think that ever goes away. I think there's something about like it'll take too long. Like it won't be in our lifetimes till it goes away, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting predictions. I mean, we can make some bets here and come back 50 years from now on our deathbeds and be like, oh, I wonder what happened, I have this belief that I think you'll just see a divergence in between like luxury experiences, luxury like sort of human-based interaction, and very inexpensive bare necessities. I think like everything splits this way, where like for a great example, I think is food in restaurants. Where there are two ends of the spectrum today that's more continuous, but you have on the far end, the far fast food, you have like, the McDonald's, and then you get like the Chipotle's, and then you get like the Sweetgreens, and you move along the spectrum from less fast and more, human connected experiences all the way to the far other end where it's like you sit down, you have a waiter, you have a maitre d', and it's very like you're going to that restaurant for, you know, that the ambiance, the people that are there, the waiter to ask you how your day was and all that stuff. And I think what we're going to see is a hollowing out of the middle, where like the Chipotle's that you buy an $18 burrito, who's going to spend $18 on a burrito when, if using, you know, improved farming techniques, vertical farming in the city, or like robot type of, you know, drop down beans and rice into a tortilla, and then like something folds it for you, and you don't have to have as many employees, and you'll see the costs go down for like low end products, right, making it more accessible for basics, and the price of experiences and like the other things, the high end, go up, and the hollowing out of the middle.
No, that's a very interesting point, because I mean, it makes sense, because you think about even today, people buy handmade stuff like, oh, it was handmade versus factory made, whatever. And you could make an argument that the factory made stuff is more standard up to par, because it was made with a process, but people have a premium for, you know, the artist. And I think I've seen that, actually, now that you mentioned it, I've seen people who are really labeling their work like not made by AI. And I think that becomes like a brand almost. And it's interesting because you know, when we talk about human beings, we've always want to signal our wealth. That's one, and the way you do it is you spend on kind of unnecessary things. So maybe like you're saying, it's a luxury good. We're gonna buy things made by humans rather than AI, which would be a fraction of the cost. And it's interesting how it ties to Jellypod, because we're in the middle. Like, we use AI, but we have your voice, and so in a way you can go both ways, because it's a great hybrid. You can go fast and just make something, and out of the box we give you something that works, and you can just roll with that, or you can go on the luxury end and you're like really craft it in your voice, you know,
have a studio, have a production, have everything. Yeah, totally. In a way we're the opposite of of the effect you're talking about. Like, we're sort of you know, we're talking about the hollowing of the middle, but in some ways we're like trying to blow up the middle, right? Like, there's like the top of the line podcasters that spend, you know, crazy amounts of money on their studios and equipment. And then we have people who will likely go to like just free Notebook LM. Let's just generate whatever, whenever, for free.
Right.
And then there's some middle ground of, I mean, it's probably us and just like people recording in their bedrooms. That's probably that's the middle. That's the middle battleground there.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's interesting.
Totally. Well, I mean, talking about just Jellypod and some of the cool stuff. Like, I mean, we had some big features released this week for everyone on the live stream. And if it's your first time here, give us a shout, say hi, where you're calling in from, where you're watching from.
Yeah, what did Jason say? Like, was dubs in the chat? Is that what the kids say?
Throw the dubs in the chat.
I was a boomer in high school, so I just never really picked up on all the lingos.
Oh, we had someone on LinkedIn saying hi.
Hi, LinkedIn user.
Nice to meet you. User one.
It's a red light. It's the AI audience watching AI live streams. Maybe we're all just AI avatars. Who knows?
Yeah. It's like it's the dead internet theory.
Or I love one of my favorite Rick and Morty episodes is like, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show, but there's one where Rick has a car battery, and instead of just getting a regular battery, he simulates a world. So there's a whole world that lives inside the battery, and they work, you know, obviously to sustain them, but the whole economy, basically in that world, there's a religion where you have to work like on a treadmill, you have to run and you get credits, and they think they do it for work, but it's actually to power his battery. So he's actually the god of the universe, and they don't know it, and they're just doing it for themselves. And so he goes inside the universe, and they're like, oh wait, so all we do is just pointless. They're like, no, you're finding meaning in your work, and I'm getting my car to run. It's perfect. Like, that show just makes
Suhas.
Nice.
Hi, Suhas. Thank you for coming. Thank you for visiting. Suhas is an incredible guy.
Oh, nice.
He's out in Oakland.
Welcome.
Yeah, we should all meet Suhas next time we're all in SF.
Close by. Yeah. Next week I wonder.
He's actually working for Copilot Kit. Fun fact. Have you guys heard of Copilot Kit?
Yeah.
I think you posted that. Sounds familiar.
A Copilot Kit is it's the AI like agents that like it'll be. I mean, they're like agents
one of the
that kind of help you do things. It's yeah. I need to reach out to them. Yuli and Atai. They're in Seattle. You ever met them?
Yeah. I think the co-founders. Yeah, one of them is in Foundations. I'm currently in Foundations, and I think one of them is actually in the group as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're based in SF or like because I know at least one of the founders is in Seattle. Suhas could, if he hasn't dropped off yet. Ooh,
Yeah.
He's plug in. He's actually their marketing. He's their marketing guy. No, I'm just kidding. He's their he's an engineer, but he's pivoted to marketing intern, plugging Copilot Kit on.
And we're all marketers. We get it.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
That's awesome.
I need to reach out to Uli. We would talk once in a while. They actually started with something similar to in the AI podcast space, backstory. So it'd be interesting, Suhas, if you ever want to ask them what they were doing before Copilot Kit. We had a conversation about that and bonded over podcasting. So yeah, but yeah, so I think I mean, jumping back into jumping back into like, I mean, what we released this week, and I think the core of our weekly Wednesdays is to talk about things that are upcoming and things that we've released in the past week and any news. But yeah, do we want to chat about Bilal? Do you want to mention a little bit?
I think super exciting update. We released a few templates, and so if you've used our platform, you're probably familiar with the video we give you as an output for your podcast episodes, and it's a very cool title, description, and audiogram. And we expanded that to 4 options, and each in different portrait, square, and landscape orientation. So, and we added captions. So now you get that really cool style where you can like follow along with the podcast and the captions are coming in. And there's a couple of different versions we did. And we wanted to just give you more visual options so that you can share parts of the podcast or the full podcast on social media, on other platforms, and get more engagement. So excited for this, and we're going to be launching more templates as well. But this is a start.
Yeah, totally. I wanted to double down on this real quick because I think you brushed over at the very beginning something that was pretty key. I mean, so what Bilal just said, so we just launched templates, really exciting. Today we have 4 templates in the app. There's classic audiogram, which is the one that everybody's familiar with today already. That just has your episode image on the left and some audiogram. Then we have classic captions, which has it's pretty much the audiogram one with captions underneath. Then we have karaoke style, which has blocked text that moves across the screen in your captions. It looks really cool. Check it one out. And then Spotlight. These names might change, so don't get settled on the names, everybody. But super cool.
I thought karaoke was spot on. Karaoke was a master class in naming because it feels like
I know we start with center stage, but I was going for kind of the spectrum where Spotlight is supposed to be if you want a podcast which is more more sober, it's a maybe a deeper topic, and so you get the captions and they kind of get bolded as they come in, but you can see the whole thing. And a lot of people, I know some people who are like slower paced or English isn't their first language, they struggle with the fast paced captions and they can't keep up. And so I think this is great for a more serious topic. Karaoke was on the other hand, that is more, you're moving along the text, and that's more for social media or if you want something fast-paced and engaging. So giving you both options there.
I'm also a fan how Spotlight, kind of an understated thing here, but Spotlight is the first, our first foray into bringing the host. Making the host feel a little bit more alive. So, especially so on the Spotlight, template, you have all the good stuff. You have your podcast name, episode name. You've got the captions that we're talking about, the audiograms. But then in the lower right, it actually calls out who's speaking. And maybe we're just kind of nerding out about our dog food, but I think that what's cool is the number one thing that I see people who love JellyPod, they love using their clones, right? And I actually, fun fact, made my best clone I've ever made this past weekend, which I absolutely loved. But now you get to see that, right? So now when you're sharing a podcast that your clone created, it's your name, right? So now it's your brand, it's your voice, it's your thoughts, it's your word choice, just elevated one step further. So I think that that's really exciting because I think it's the first step into we're always talking about how do we bring these hosts to life even more, right. And I think this is one tiny step,
yeah,
one giant leap.
Yeah, it's exciting because we start with just showing names, but what speaker identification allows is like eventually we want you guys to really craft the host, not just personality but looks, an avatar and stuff, and so we can show that ultimately in the templates as well. And I think one of our North Stars in terms of output is it should just basically be a podcast, not just like any app podcast. It just feel and look like a real podcast. And I think we're getting very close to that, sooner rather than later.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's so cool though, because I think we beat this drum all the time, but we want to make this as easy as possible to have that great defaults and make it super easy to create podcasts. And the source of truth is that transcript. And so what's super cool about what we were doing with templates and with speaker identification and, making that video that's generated like high quality is you just make the edits to the transcript. Like the source of truth is the words in front of you on your screen. So if you change a host, everything just kind of works. If you change the host from Ruby to Eric, it's just going to reflect everywhere in your video. If you make a change to the actual word and the podcast, it's going to reflect the video, and everything's derived from just you making a change to your transcript. And so that's kind of a core thing for us is that, hey, let's make it as easy as possible for you as a user to just tell us what you want your podcast to say, and everything else just kind of works magically from that. And so that's a key thing there.
Yeah.
And just that's super cool. What I was thinking about is I just had a really cool customer call that I just published recently. I'm not sure if anybody's seen it, but with Mark Sage, a very interesting guy out of currently based in Vietnam, but spent a lot of time in Hong Kong, 20 years in loyalty marketing, and launched a loyalty marketing program in Hong Kong that was more downloaded than Facebook. So like massive market share specifically in Hong Kong. So kind of an expert in loyalty marketing. And he tells this incredible, podcast. He was writing a book, hundreds of pages, converted into, a more accessible format, which is podcast. But so much of why this is important, so much of the credibility behind this podcast is that it's him, right? It's his thoughts, he uses his voice, etc. So I just love that, just to bring it back to this whole spotlight thing. Now you'll be able to see that this is coming. You can more easily tell that this is not only incredible information, but coming from a source that is incredibly credible.
All right. Incredibly credible. Yeah.
Totally true. That kind of social proof is more important than ever. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the other thing that Bilal mentioned right at the beginning of this new feature release was aspect ratios and orientations. So not only did we release multiple templates now that you can choose from, each of these templates has a unique layout for landscape, for portrait mode, and for square. So you can make your podcast if you want it to be primarily distributed on a platform like YouTube or Spotify or something that is best viewed as a landscape video. You could choose landscape. That's how it's been up to this point. But in addition to landscape, you can also export your video as a square, which is perfect for, say, Instagram or any place that a square just looks better. And then also portrait. So TikTok or Instagram Reels or any of those platforms that just look better as in a portrait mode. Every template supports all 3 orientations. So you don't have to worry about, oh, this template right now doesn't fit over here. And so just choose your orientation, choose your template, and it works. So
yeah. So it's really, you have 4 times 3, 12 different options, and you'll find like you have some favorites and stuff. Like we all have a favorite. Like I really like the spotlight square. It's just like something about it's tight and just all, looks nice.
I'm also Team Square. I don't know where to post it, but I'm Team Square for sure.
I know. It's like, I feel like maybe Twitter is the only platform that has Square primarily video, or is it?
I guess Instagram has Square, I think, right?
Instagram is Square. Oh, not Reels, but posts. You're right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're right.
I kind of want to. I mean, what do you guys think? Should we just share a screen and show these, or like? I mean, we're talking about them.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
so everybody.
Last time my analytics sharing was a fail, so someone else does it because I don't have enough podcasts out there.
Let me pull this up real quick. And by the way, for everybody out here watching today's Weekly Wednesday, next week it'll be in person. So we're all traveling down to San Francisco. Yeah. And we'll do this in person.
It's gonna be a live recording. Yeah. If you want to be part of it, if you want to be a guest on the show, hit us up.
Yeah, maybe. No, totally. And I think that we're going to this conference, and it's like AI engineering, which is going to be super fun for all of us. But
I wonder if Suhas will be there. Hey, Suhas, if you're still here, are you going to the AI World's Fair?
Yeah, we'll see.
Now we can wait 25 seconds for him to actually get that.
Right. Let me share my screen. Yeah, but if anybody's going and wants to grab coffee or whatever, let us know. Nice. Speed up. Okay. See this? Does this? Okay, we can see this.
Oh.
Yes.
Sweet.
Nice. I thought you might sneak peek the revamp you're doing as well. I know.
No.
It's too much.
There's a big change coming out very soon that I'm very excited about. I think we're repeating. We say that a lot. I mean, we're always big change coming out soon.
Yeah. So things move fast.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So pretty much, as you can see here, this is the traditional classic audiogram template on the right-hand side, but we have this button, video settings, and now you can see orientation and template. So I'll just go through the orientations here. So for the classic audiogram, we have landscape, we have portrait. So it looks like this, very cool. We have square, also very cool. And if I just play this.
Hey, Pearson, you've got these huge, flashy, renewable energy.
Right. And then I'll just quickly go through the other orientations. So we have classic captions. So this is kind of like the same thing. And it works with square and portrait and landscape. We have spotlight. This is the one that we're talking about. This one's super cool, where we have actually on the bottom right-hand side, we have Elliott Vino as the speaker. And
hey, Pearson, you've got these huge, flashy, renewable energy projects by corporations or like.
So the this template just gets the text darker and bolder as the captions go. And then we have the final one or I'll show you the landscape version too. Looks like this. And then we also have karaoke. So karaoke, I think this one's probably my favorite. It just looks so awesome. Just you have the podcast cover art in the middle, and then you have the
hey, Pearson,
words.
You've got these huge, flashy, renewable energy projects by corporations or like.
Yeah, and then you can see it in square.
Government-backed solar farms.
And then you also have it in portrait mode.
What about the small guys?
And in case anybody's wondering, the colors are automatically generated. So the background color that you see is the average color in your thumbnail. I imagine that we're going to be doing more and more things to the video, but just as a heads up, if you want to see a different color, for example, you can drop in a new thumbnail for that for your episode. There's a little picture icon in the top left of where the title is. You drop some new in there, you'll get a new thumbnail, new color.
Right. I wonder if I have any. Let's see. So here's Yeah, make sure it's less than 500 kilobytes, or it won't work.
We're doing it live.
Oh, well, those are too big, so I don't have an image right now to generate, but you can adjust it there. So that's that.
So Eric Olson asks a cool question, which is, so he has the intention of selling like basically subscriptions to his JellyPod content. This is absolutely something like, Patreon style ability to consume through the website. That's something we've absolutely discussed. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, Pearson, in the short term, but long term, this is something we definitely discussed.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we see more and more people like just using JellyPod as a platform to create niche content. So like last week, we mentioned about one of our customers who creates he's a chess grandmaster. He creates a chess podcast. That content's super valuable. He has a course. This is something supplementary to that. So it definitely fits in with kind of our vision for the platform. But we can't make promises right now on where something like this would come into the pipeline. We like kind of, for everybody watching right now, the way we think about how we prioritize features and things is like, okay, is there a way for people today to hack together some of the stuff? And if it is, that's awesome and that's super cool. Can we make it easier for them to integrate that into JellyPod? That's something that we consider. And then on the other flip end, is there something that's just not been possible previously in the world? Like creating an AI podcast hasn't been possible. Cloning your voice hasn't been possible. And those things really add this sort of wow factor. People come to our platform for those like to be wowed by the experience. So blending a combination of, having these core features that wow everybody. And then in addition, having all those other things that supplement, that help you grow as a creator. And we see how we just debate how we piece that all together. Like hosting, we do hosting for you. In the past, I've done some small podcasts, how to have a hosting provider, like use something else. And that was something for us where we didn't really have to do it. You can go and just export your video. You can download it. You can upload it yourself to YouTube. But we thought making it really easy for you just to publish with one click to Spotify, to YouTube, to Apple Podcasts is something that is nice. And that was one of those things that we added, but doesn't make everyone go wow. But it was pretty cool. And this is one of those things that would also be pretty cool to have as well.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. I think it's definitely currently working a little bit on the Explore podcast player, but I think one of our key initiatives will be to increase discoverability and make the specific website, a richer, fuller experience. So almost like, it's not just a list of episodes, it's, you can add other stuff. So it's definitely now, I think on the roadmap, we'll add stuff. But as Pearson is saying, our priority is like, making sure we, first nail the process down for you and let you guys like, produce the best podcast possible in the easiest way possible. And then, with our leftover resources and time, we'll focus on, the distribution side.
Totally. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say, and to marry those two sort of poles that Pearson laid out between the wow and like, are we watching people hack this together? Like the fastest way to get us to build something like this is for us to see people posting these on Patreon. So Eric, if you start selling your thing on Patreon and you start seeing you're, suddenly unhappy by the cut they're taking or something like that, then it becomes, clear as day for us to build something like this. But until then, there's a reason why people don't post on Patreon, and there's a reason why they might not also use this feature on JellyPod.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the trade-offs.
Yeah. There's another platform called School. I've heard a lot. I know they do a lot of marketing around it. I think Alex Ramosi, maybe.
Yeah, that's
his platform. But it's kind of interesting because that's similar aspect where like they post content, you can pay for that content. So marrying that Patreon, School, Substack type payments would be interesting, but very cool. Yeah. At the end of the day, just kind of we want to lay the groundwork. Like we're building this really cool AI-driven media studio. And notice I say media because I think as we move towards we're podcasting, we add more templates and captions, and there's things that we can really grow from here. And it's really exciting for the next 6 months what we'll be able to accomplish. But just laying that foundation to build on top of, like, this cool experience is how we go about this. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
AI mind reading studio is what I like. Is my favorite explanation of Jellypod.
It is wild when that happens, when you're like, wow, how did it know this stuff? Like when Mohammed, the virtual psychiatrist, talked about when he cloned his voice or cloned his guest, and it just knew some stuff about that guest that he cloned and brought into his podcast, and he was just blown away by how it just kind of knew it. And those are the cool things where customers are like, whoa, that's awesome. So
when people think that we're doing something like manually, that's always such a great feeling.
Maybe we built interesting things. We have built a lot of cool tech. And
Jellypod is just me and Pearson and Bilal in a Google Doc, just typing as quickly as we can.
That's almost, when Google started, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they manually like answered queries for the first 2 years. That's it. That's one of those like Chuck Norris facts, like they're manually answering for the whole internet.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. The PageRank paper is actually just them just sorting piles of printed out PDFs of the internet.
Yeah.
Every tweet that you see is just Elon Musk posting.
That actually, at least 50% from my feed is him. So
yeah. Actually, all the Waymos, they're just a bunch of people like in a data center somewhere with a steering wheel, just controlling it, and some cameras.
That's funny because that was Optimus when they did the demo. It was actually remote control.
There was like a story that broke about the Amazon Prime stores. That they're like that there was some. And the article made it seem like people were saying, okay, that guy took this one, that guy took this, that guy took that. But it wasn't actually that. They were like reviewing like edge cases, I think. But nonetheless, but I thought that was hilarious.
No, it's super interesting. Well, I know we're kind of at time today, and so was there anything you guys wanted to touch on before we wrap, or?
I think we covered the core feature. Like anything else?
I guess one other customer worth shouting out. I just love to share people's. I've just come to realize that people really like to hear about the stories because it inspires them to like. There's a lot of people on this stream, a lot of people who are users who want to create, are excited about this new technology, and just are looking to be inspired. So there's this guy. He runs a nonprofit co-working space in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, a town of 25,000 people. And at this center, he's got lots of micro entrepreneurs, mom and pop shops, artisans, etc. And he uses the platform. He's cloned his voice. He's the founder, and then they have like they're like deputy director of membership or something. And the two of them create podcasts as lessons. So they have like very specific lessons to teach, if you're like a glass blower in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, let's say, and there are certain things, you love glass blowing, but you don't know enough about the business side of things, right? The permitting you need to get, the where can you work, blah, just all the little edge cases. And they use Jellypod to create this sort of educational content and to, quickly personalize it. So if any of you have some expertise that you're really trying to help people with, this is just a common thing I hear time and time again. If you're trying to help people through information, Jellypod is a very fast way to make it accessible.
Yeah, what was the link, or do you have off the top of your head, what was their podcast called?
I don't. Well, it's called the Covation Center is the organization. Covationcenter.org.
Nice.
And you can see all their content there. They have a YouTube channel.
Oh, nice.
I don't remember. And then, but I do remember off top. If you're looking to learn about loyalty marketing, he makes it accessible to people who aren't specifically in loyalty, because there's lots of like psychological concepts that you can take away in lots of part of business. It's called loyaltyunlocked.jellypod.ai.
That's Mark Sages.
That's Mark Sages.
Right.
But you can always find stuff on jellypod.ai/customer-stories. Customer stories. You can Google, you probably put that in Google too.
Yeah.
And hopefully they do
We're
us a
gonna-
solid.
Hopefully I'll try to put more on the explore page, because I feel like we have a lot of goal that we need to, I think, like, as Eric was saying, as we build out the distribution side, we're going to expose that, because there are customers who, like, we were like laughing about one of our the podcast that was created by our user, but like, they create such cool content. It's great for us. I'll just like jump on sometimes and listen to something randomly for a few minutes.
Well, we got to share what you saw. There was a dude who made a podcast, and the cover art was just a guy on the beach, butt naked.
Yeah, was it bearing it all? Loved it. I loved it.
It was funny.
Eric gave a shout out to the
Yeah.
Williamsport video. Eric, thanks for always coming on. Eric is always engaged. I feel like Eric's our new Franny.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, Eric. Thanks for joining on, and everybody else that's on the live stream. We do this every Wednesday, so if it's your first time joining, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, we hop on. We talk about everything that we've released, things that we're about to release, maybe give some use cases or some tips and tricks that coming from the team on how to use JellyPod the best. And it happens every Wednesday. We post this on a recording on YouTube and all of our social medias afterwards. So if you missed our live, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Twitter, LinkedIn. You'll find it all there. And it helps us a lot, because we take this video, we also clip up some shorts from here. So there's some segments that you might see on YouTube Shorts or things. So subscribe to us on YouTube. You'll stay up to date. You'll see when we do these every week. And next week we'll do it in person. So it's kind of exciting. So it'll be a little different environment. So
I'll bring the mic still, so there'll be some continuity. Yeah, I'll bring the mic. This thing folds. It's great. I'm on the go.
We're gonna have to figure out how to do this in the hotel room. I looked at the schedule of the conference, and it's
No, I thought we would do it at the conference.
What?
We could do it at the conference.
Oh, I know, but it sucks because there at 10 a.m. there's a guy, Simon Willison, who is speaking.
Oh yeah.
And,
I didn't know he was speaking. I follow his blogs. I know he blew up because of his LLM blog posts and stuff.
And he's speaking, but it's only like a 20-minute little keynote thing. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but it's like, oh, it's a bummer. So it's okay. It's a 30-minute thing. We'll be there, and then there's a break right after him. So it's like it kind of worked out, except for him. But you know what? It'll be fun anyway. New environment.
I mean, we could have it not be at 10. We could have it be staggered.
No, we have to keep it at 10. We can't change it up.
Can't change it.
No, everyone here is jumping on at 10 a.m. So it's great. But so that's that. And keep an eye out for some new, some major UX overhauls in the editor screen soon. And then on the captions and the orientations, layouts, check it out. Check out Spotlight or Karaoke. And
Cool. All right, guys. Take